Okay, we're back, and I failed the last time. I failed. Anyway, so my options now are down to 3 more options. These, which have their issues. A bit of tube that I have to lobster back. I tested a bit. I just put a bit of a hacksaw cut in there, and then I welded up with 1.5mm rod, and I sort of did. And I've got this, it's a bit finer than polystyrene, it's not quite what I'm after, but I sanded it and it sands okay, so if I need to I can make something out of that. So I have 3 more options left of how to make a manifold here. Well, I'm going to try my next piece, and it's one of these. I've got 2 of these, and the idea is that the one is on the head this way and one's on the blower that way, and that way. That's all good, but these angles are all wrong. It's got to be coming out flat like that. So I'm going to practice with one. As you know, I had to make something like this, but I've given up on this because I threw 17 welding rods at that, and then before I realised it, it's impossible to weld. It creates its own holes. So that's over. So I'm going on the next plan. That's a hole for a vacuum hose, and that'll be a boost hole if I use it. But anyway, my plan is, this has some faults. It's not perfect either. 28mm is the hole size I would like. This piece of plastic is 27, and it just fits in there, right? So it's 1mm too small already. But then it chokes. It chokes in the centre there because, see that there? That's only like 30mm across there. And see that? Oops, see that? So it couldn't. It's too wide already, so it thins out in the middle, which means that I'll have to make it bigger. I'll have to report it and make it bigger. But what I plan to do is put JB Weld through there, fill that in like that, so that when I fill that in I can then report it, and I might break through there, but you know, it won't be such a big deal. Break through there, but it won't be a big deal. Now the next thing I have to do is, because I'm really wanting on here, I'm going to put in the milling machine and machine it off. So that means that this is not quite low enough. That's too high. I can even bring it up, you know, to around there somewhere. But and then re-drill some holes coming down through here. Oh, that reminds me, I've got to build this up. Oh, yeah, I've got to build this up along here, so I have to do some more. So I've roughed all that up with a Dremel, then scrubbed it with a brush to get all the pores clean. So, and then I'll parts cleaner it, and then I'll JB weld it. I've got this high heat stuff which is supposed to be strong and good. JB weld, and I've not used this. Whoops, let me go. I've not used this stuff before, and it looks like it's got a hardener in the middle, and then the aluminium type JB weld on the outside. Now I've used plenty of Devcon, and I've got some left. But that's Devcon's a softer mix. I'm going to make like little plasticine dams and stuff like that for that. So I'll give this stuff a go, if I can manipulate it the way I want to manipulate it. I can feel it, it's warm, so it's obviously not too long. So it'll be starting to go off. So only got an hour. I've got a limited amount of time to play with this stuff. Got to try and get something down that hole. Come on, down you go. Next thing I want to do, this end here has to be built up a little bit, so I'll push that in. Push it into the hole there. Next thing I need is need to build. I might just go half of that. Sticky. Don't need all the way down there. Well, that's it. It's a bit ugly looking, but that's alright. I'll make a swan out of it yet. So that's what I've got. I'm going to just sit on plastic, but it generally doesn't stick to plastic much. I did lick my little finger, waved that across there, and then just pressed it down, and that gave me a flat surface. so I might just leave it on that flat surface for now. It shouldn't stick. That's it. See how we go. Well, it's hard now, so I put this bit on the bench grinder just to see how it goes, and it sort of handles the same as Devcon, so just an epoxy. I've got it bolted down now. Look, I'm no machinist, so I don't know all the tricks that they know, and I'm sure they know a lot. But this one here is just to stop it from moving. Like, you can just see a bit of air. There you go. It's just to stop it from moving that way. It's not a clamp down. These two are just to stop it from moving side to side. They just happen to luckily sort of push on there a bit as I bolt it down. This one here is one of those tongues that goes in, and no, you can't see it. Just one of those tongues that goes in and is bolted down. So that's the only thing that's holding it down. The other just sort of hold it in place, but once again it feels tight. So I'll put it on the drill press, and I'm going to machine it pretty well from that height right across and see what I've got. Well, so far so good. It rattles itself loose, and you have to bang it with the hammer up here again, but it's coming down. And if I run my finger on it, it feels reasonably smooth, although there's a few things not quite right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here and just touch on that and do one skim just to get rid of all that. Then I'll come back and do a really light skim. Well, let's see what we've got. Right, first look-sies, where are we? Here we go. Well, it skimmed it. I reckon it goes, the fins go to about there. By the time I put a gasket on there, I reckon I'm right with that. So, it's an oval shape, which I unexpected, but that's why I put that in there, so I should be able to reshape that. Probably make that a bit wider there to keep perfectly round again. Just skim the top off so I've got a dead flat area, and then take this off. I don't know, it'll probably be down like that. Just make it flat, bring it in. So I've got a spot to put a bolt through onto the head. So I'm just going to clean it up like that. Well, it's done. It looks rough, but I can clean that up with a file and a Dremel. Got a flat surface there. They measure across. It looks a bit deceiving, but they measure with the verniers as even. It's just skimmed it there. The new hole will be probably just about there. which will come through there somewhere, which will give me enough room. I may have to dig that a bit more. Yet I don't know, but I don't want to go too far in that way because it'll get, I've got to make that hole bigger. I've got to round that corner off there because it's quite sharp. See the casting mark there? I've got to find out where the hole's going to be, but it'll run something wide. It's bigger than that. That's too small. So I've got a few shapings to do. Clean up in there. Drill some new holes. I've got my little valve. This is the valve I'm going to use. It's a pitiful excuse for a pop-off valve, but that's 100 psi, 10 psi, 14, 15 psi right there, which is 1 bar. So the idea is that I stick that there. That goes down through there, so that's quite a lot of material. That'll be half Defcon, half aluminium. That should be enough to hold it. But it may not fit because of the top bar of the motorbike, so I may have to yet do that to it, but I don't know if that weight will be too much. I don't know, I've got to figure it out. Plus I could put it on the other side yet, so on the blower side. So, but anyway, I'll get it prepared. So that's it. So a bit of Dremel, a bit of clean up work, bit of Dremel work, find that hole exactly where it's going to be, and then work out how I'm going to, what sort of adapter plate between the two I need for the head and this. Because the way this is like badly cast, it sort of narrows inside there, so I'm just trying to dig that out. So I'll just gently dig it out like this, work my way along. What I'm doing here is, you got to think there's a tube running here, and I really don't know how the fuel is going. It's going to atomize at the carburetor, and then will it deatomize to some degree going to the blower and drop out. And if it drops out, it could pull down the bottom here or up the bottom there. So I don't want it to raw lumps of fuel to pull. So by giving a chamfered edge on there, it helps with it transitioning. Plus it'll help just the wind will blow and just get no fueling. It's just a good idea. So I'm just rounding it off. See there, it's quite crude. Just make it a bit smoother there. Now that I've got this piece roughly made, I can see if it roughly fits. Like it, I've cleaned up inside that area, and that's done now. But there I haven't. I've just blown up my Dremel tool doing that. So I'm going to wait for new parts or bushes, I think the problem is. But my plan was, I was going to put this spacer plate on there, and then put, locate that, and then put that on top, and locate that on top. But if I look like that, see how close that is there? That is so close that if I had another one of these and reversed it, I would be struggling to get a spacer plate in there, and then that. So it's not going to work. So I'm going to have to get rid of this as a spacer plate, and this is that stainless steel one that I got. Put that in there, make a spacer plate out of that, and then do it. And see that? Well, let's have a look. There'd be something like that. But that dropping it down goes down this way, makes it further out, and that gives me enough room to do exactly that again. If I put a bolt like this, there's enough room. So I could cut that away, and I have enough room there to cut that away, and it would be, the hole would be about the same, it'd be there somewhere. So I could cut that away and then put a bolt this down while the motor's, like, just bolt that plate down, then have a gasket, and then have that gasket have this bolted to that, and I can choose wherever I do that. So I have the luxury then of choosing exactly where I want to put a hole with a washer and whatever. So I have that luxury, and I've got, that's a bigger service than standard. So And as far as this goes over here, there's enough room for a bolt head there and a bolt head there, and all I've got to do is just have that welded in on the other side, just a bit of a tack weld, and then screw it down on this side. Paper gaskets in between, so, and that flange stuff, so I can make that, and that'll work. Get my bearings as to where I'm going to cut this out. I made a bit of cardboard and run a straight line up there, and then that bit of cardboard will sit over that hole, and then a straight line along the side will be something like that. I've measured it all up the best I can. I still got a little bit of trimming off to do there, but that plate fit on there nicely, like that way around. A hole was run that way, and that would make that fit running this way. So what I need to do is find the best spot where I can come out here, and the gap between there and there has to be the same, because that's the gap of the sealing surface. So I'm going to make those dots there and come out the top here somewhere, and we'll see where it is. Well, it went in there and came out there. So it's going to have a bit of metal like all through there, so it's going to be half metal, half JB weld. A decent washer on there, I think that'll be fine. Tape the two together. Now I'll drill a pilot hole down there just to locate it. Something has gone drastically wrong. If I put that on there and this in there to locate it, that is way off there. Something's gone wrong in the process. It's not very easy to file, so I'm just speeding the filing process up by putting one in the drill and working on this stroke as being the largely in place. I could put a few washers on there, and I'm going to use longer bolts because I could build something off it, but this is just for the now final cleanup. I know where I am exactly, so I'll go around there and do that a cleanup a little bit through here, and that's how I'll get it accurate. So I'll just clean that up with the Dremel and finish it off. Cleanup, it's all done. I'm happy with that. The shape's okay. The sanding's done, worked out well. Now what I'm going to do with a milling machine is just going flat here, just enough for one of those heads to go on there. So because it's starting to get a bit thin between there, I made it in two levels because that's domed. So if I just take that edge off there and just sort of make that a little bit rounded, it'll sort of hopefully make working with a dome, and that way I don't have to, I can keep it as low as possible. I've done it, it's made. Like that one clears that's okay. This one here, there's a little bit of movement for racing clearance. It comes off. Got a bit hot there, but that's plenty of surface area for me to get a seal, especially if I make my own gaskets. And these are a bit long, and it makes it hard to fit in here because I can't put it on because it touches up there. But I'll put the whole lot on and I'll show you again. It makes it a bit awkward to put on with the blower still on there, but And I've left these, if they're just too long, but I'll leave them for now. I don't know what I can do. I can make some loops, carry cables, hoses or whatever. I can always cut them off any time I want. Or make them longer and make something here. I really don't know. The main thing is, like that all lines up inside there nicely. But the main thing is the angle of this. And if you look down here, that pretty well is in the middle, that being the dead centre, pretty well comes out of the middle of where I want to be for the intake on the blower. And see that gap there? If you look over here, I'll get that down low and lower. iPad doesn't want to get in there. There's the spacer plate, pretty well the same height as the bottom there. So if you look at it this way, I have enough room to put the same size spacer plate, probably even a bit bigger, so I may be able to make it aluminium. But it lines up squarely, like everything's nice. So I've set myself well up for making the next part. Is that too long? Don't know, whatever. But I've set myself up. So I'm quite happy with that, and I think it'll be strong enough. Hi everyone that's watching this. Look, thank you. I have to call this it for a little while. I've got a big trip planned and I'm going to get ready and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to call this at this stage. The next video is going to be just as complicated, take just as long. So I'll call it quits for now. I'll be back in about 3-4 months. And thank you. There's about 20 of you that are watching this regularly. Thank you very much. I'm enjoying doing it. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you when I get back. Bye bye.